But we're delighted to be joined by our cricket analyst in Mr. Sunil Gavaskar. He's giving you the first reactions here on India Today, the legend who actually walked in with the trophy today with Sundar Pichai. Sahiba, I'll talk to you about that moment with the Google boss Sundar Pichai and how he's such a big fan of you. But let's start with what we've just witnessed. You know, the last few days in this tournament, we've been covering every match. And even though India were winning, we all pointed out to the fact that the Indian batting is not firing on all cylinders. There seemed to be a bit of a worry there. Today, those worries came to light, and this is what we were worried about. You know, that Indian batting lineup on occasions not really firing on all cylinders. This was the day that we all were fearing.
Yes, I think any game, you have to get off to a good start with the bat and with the ball. With the ball, you take early wickets. In the first 6 overs, you take 2 wickets. You give yourself a good chance to restrict the opposition to a reasonable total. And in the first 6 overs, if you get off to a start losing just maybe 1 wicket, then again, you give yourself a chance of chasing any total. But that is not what is happening. India has not been getting a good start from their opening batters. And in fact, they're losing a wicket pretty much in the first over of their innings. And that actually sets everybody back because suddenly the pressure then gets a little too much on batsman number 3. And I think that is where India has struggled because otherwise the batting is very good. But this time around, because they have not got off to a good start, they have struggled to put runs on the board.
The most obvious question, Saniva, that comes to your mind is the fact that, you know, this Indian team for the last year and a half was knocking off runs for fun. You know, we're talking about chasing 187. They were knocking off 220, 230 for fun. There is, on some occasions, they were even targeting 300. What's really happened to them? Yes, they've won majority of their encounters. This is the first loss. But that same batting lineup that would get 230 for fun is not being, you know, reaching even 200. What's really happened to this batting then?
Yes, I think that's only because we're not getting off to a good start. The moment you get off to a flying start, you get to maybe 70 or thereabouts in the first 7 overs, 10 runs and over. Then in the remaining overs that you have with wickets in hand, you can then score at 12, 13, 14 runs and over per over and get to 190, 200 easily. But because the Indian team has just not been getting starts, that is the reason why they've not been able to chase totals. They're not been able to put, you know, massive totals on the board when they're batting first.
Okay. To your point then, because as you're pointing out, the problem is not being able to get to a good start. Though I remember in that year and a half that I was referring to, there were occasions where they didn't get off to a good start, yet would get, you know, the upwards of 200, 220, 230. You know, we still don't know what's really happened. Are they the pitches or is it the pressure of the ICC tournament that the scores have gone down? But be that as may, because you point out to not getting good starts, let me pin you down to it. Why do you think India is not getting good starts?
I think it is perhaps maybe just a little over-enthusiastic, you know, response in trying to hit sixes rather than looking at the situation, rather than looking at the bowler, rather than looking at where the boundaries are, long boundaries. There are most of the grounds, you know, one side is long, one side is a little bit short. So I don't think that appreciation has been shown where they're looking, you know, to take advantage of the shorter boundary and look to play the big shots over there.
Okay. So that's one thing that you talk about, you know, not getting to good starts. Let's analyze this game even in a deeper way. 20 for 3, you have South Africa on the mat. Do you think the Indian team missed a trick? The captain missed a trick, not getting Bumrah quickly? Because we knew that partnership, almost a 100-run partnership, I think it was 97 if I'm not mistaken, between Brevis and Miller. That was the game there. Had you got that, nipped it in the bud, maybe they wouldn't have reached that daunting total, 187. You think an Indian team missed a trick, not getting Bumrah in the middle over, something that they would do previously as well, and saving him for just the death overs?
No, I don't think that happened because, you know, it was always a touchy, you know, thing for the captain, whether to give another over to Bumrah or keep 2 towards the back end of the innings. He kept 2 towards the back end of the innings, which also was good. Otherwise, because of that, Bumrah was able to get those wickets, couple of wickets. Otherwise, South Africa could well have ended over 200. So I think, I don't think you can fault the captaincy of Suryakumar Yadav. You've got to give credit to the South African batters, particularly Brevis and David Miller for that partnership, which actually steadied the innings. Look, India never got a partnership. Even if India got a partnership half of what Brevis and Miller put, it could have been a different story. India never got a partnership going. They were losing wickets at regular intervals. And when that happens, however deep your batting is, then it's a struggle to get to the asking rate and to try and keep up with the required run rate.
Okay.